2. Hollywood icons were found dead in their Brentwood home, and their own son is now facing murder charges. The world knew Rob Reiner as the maker of comfort classics, films people turned to for warmth and moral clarity. But that public legacy hid a family struggle so intense, even friends like Steven Spielberg couldn't help. What destroyed the most admired family in entertainment, and why did no one see it coming? This was not a movie plot. It was a tragedy, more real and more painful than the headlines ever revealed. Rob Reiner's name is woven into the fabric of American culture. For nearly 4 decades, his films defined what comfort and decency looked like on screen. In 1986, he directed Stand By Me, a coming-of-age story that became a rite of passage for generations. The very next year, 1987, he delivered The Princess Bride, a film that turned fairy tale and satire into a single, unforgettable classic. When Harry Met Sally in 1989 set the gold standard for romantic comedy, while Misery in 1990 proved he could turn a Stephen King thriller into a box office and critical hit. Then came A Few Good Men in 1992, a courtroom drama that gave audiences the line, "You can't handle the truth," and earned an Academy Award nomination for Best Picture. But Reiner's influence stretched far beyond the director's chair. In 1987, he co-founded Castle Rock Entertainment, a studio behind cultural giants like Seinfeld. He didn't just make movies, he built institutions that shaped the industry itself. Off-screen, he became a force for social change. Reiner led the charge for California's Proposition 10, rallying Hollywood's biggest names, including Steven Spielberg, to fight for children's health and early education. His activism drew headlines and millions in donations, showing how power in Hollywood could be turned toward the public good. To the world, Rob Reiner stood for warmth, moral clarity, and the belief that stories could make people better. He was the trusted face of a Hollywood that seemed, for once, to have its heart in the right place. Nick Reiner's struggle with addiction began before adulthood. By age 15, he was already cycling through his first rehab stays, and the pattern repeated. 18 programs in total, each one ending in relapse or a brief period of hope. His teenage years were marked by stretches of homelessness and resistance to treatment, choices that left his parents searching for answers no amount of Hollywood influence could provide. Rob Reiner spoke about it with rare honesty in a 2015 interview. "It's been a long road. We're still in it." The family's private battle spilled into public view through the film Being Charlie. Released in 2015, the movie told the story of a young addict fighting to reclaim his life, with Nick co-writing the script and playing a version of himself. Rob directed, drawing on their real experiences, the late nights, the interventions, the hope and heartbreak. The film's rawness was not just for the audience. At its Tribeca premiere, Rob was seen wiping away tears as Nick answered questions about survival and relapse. He called the project personal, admitting that addiction had shaped his family's reality for years. No amount of success could insulate them from fear. Rob's public statements made it clear, addiction does not care about fame or fortune. It is, as he put it, a family disease. The Reiners tried therapy, tough love, and creative collaboration, but no single effort brought lasting peace. Their story, laid bare in Being Charlie, became a warning about the limits of power when the crisis is inside your own home. On the night of December 13th, 2025, the Reiner family stepped into the swirl of Hollywood's holiday season at Conan O'Brien's annual Christmas party. Guests who knew the family well noticed something different. Nick Reiner moved through the crowd with a restless energy, alternating between awkward silence and sudden sharp outbursts. He confronted his father in front of others, voices rising above the low hum of conversation. Witnesses remember the exchange as tense, Nick's words clipped, Rob's face drawn tight, the moment hanging in the air until staff quietly guided them away from the main room. Some guests later described Nick as agitated and unpredictable, asking strangers if they were famous, then storming off after a heated remark. For those who had seen the Reiners at countless industry gatherings, this was not the usual family friction. It was raw, public, and impossible to ignore. The argument did not end at the party. Outside, Nick and Rob stood apart from the crowd, their conversation escalating into shouts that caught the attention of arriving guests. Friends tried to intervene, but the distance between father and son felt unbridgeable. By the time the Reiners left the event, the sense of unease lingered. Plans for the following day, a quiet Sunday dinner, meetings, ordinary routines, remained on the calendar. But for those who witnessed the confrontation, the image of a family in freefall was impossible to shake. That night, the cracks in the Reiner family's public image were no longer hidden behind closed doors. They were exposed, under the harsh lights of Hollywood's most familiar faces. Sunday afternoon in Brentwood passed quietly. The Reiners' home sat behind its familiar gates, their plans for the evening still visible on a shared calendar, dinner with friends, and a note about a meeting later in the week. But as the hours ticked by, calls and messages from those expecting to see Rob and Michelle went unanswered. Their absence from a long-scheduled dinner, reportedly with close political allies, first raised concern among friends and staff. No one suspected the ordinary day would end with sirens and police tape. It was Romy Reiner who unlocked the front door that afternoon, expecting to find her parents preparing for the evening. Instead, she was met with a silence that felt wrong. The house, always full of life, offered no response. Romy's search ended in the master bedroom, where she discovered her father's body. Shock and panic overtook her. She ran from the house and dialed a friend in desperation. Within minutes, her roommate placed the 911 call that would bring paramedics and police to the scene. Authorities arrived approximately 3:38 in the afternoon, according to dispatch logs. Inside, they found both Rob and Michelle Reiner, victims of multiple sharp force injuries. The evidence of violence was unmistakable. Routine plans, dinner, a meeting, a Sunday spent with family were now overshadowed by a crime scene. What began as a missed appointment had become the unthinkable, leaving a daughter to bear witness to a loss no calendar could predict. Nick Reiner was arrested at a Santa Monica hotel the evening after his parents were found dead. The Los Angeles County District Attorney's Office filed 2 counts of first-degree murder, citing the special circumstance of multiple victims. The District Attorney's Office said the evidence supports the most serious charges under California law. The criminal complaint specifies sharp force injuries as the cause of death, and it says Nick was arrested without incident near the University of Southern California campus. Legal experts point out that first-degree murder in California requires proof of intent and premeditation, a legal threshold prosecutors say they can meet in this case. Nick has not entered a plea. His arraignment, originally scheduled for December 18th, was postponed after a court-ordered psychiatric evaluation found him unfit to proceed. He remains in custody without bail, awaiting his next court appearance. Shock rippled through Hollywood as news of the Reiner killings broke. Within hours, tributes from friends and collaborators flooded social media. Billy Crystal called Rob Reiner a brother in spirit and laughter. Sally Field wrote, "He made the world kinder, and he made me braver." Directors like Ava DuVernay and Judd Apatow shared memories of Reiner's mentorship, emphasizing his generosity and the warmth he brought to every project. But the grief was quickly shadowed by a wave of politicized reaction. On December 15th, a post from Donald Trump's Truth Social account mocked Reiner's activism, calling him Hollywood's loudest loser. The backlash was immediate. Republican and Democratic lawmakers alike condemned the comment as cruel and opportunistic. Industry leaders urged the public to focus on the family's pain, not on political point scoring. The split was stark. Heartfelt remembrance on one side, outrage and divide on the other. In the days that followed, the Reiner tragedy became a mirror for the culture's deepest divides. No legacy, no matter how public, can shield a family from private collapse. Addiction and mental illness cut through fame, fortune, and even the best intentions. Today, these crises cross every boundary. The real story is how we respond, because silence only feeds the next tragedy. Join the conversation below.